goal of benchmarking disclosure policies is to introduce this element of demand and competition into real estate markets around energy efficiency that we have not seen. So if you look at fuel economy labels on cars, if you look at nutritional labeling on food, what you see are manufacturers competing to make products that cost people less, that cost me less at the pump to fill my car, that is healthier for me to eat rather than something that has a lot of fat and a lot of calories. What benchmarking and disclosure is trying to do is introduce energy performance metrics for buildings into the market that a prospective lessee, a business, a apartment renter can look at before they make this kind of decision and be able to make a really good decision if they want to go into a building where they're going to be paying less for energy because they're using less.
The Institute for Market Transformation, or IMT, a nonprofit organization based in Washington, D.C., advises policymakers nationally on benchmarking and disclosure regulations. In just the past few years, 6 major cities and 2 states have adopted benchmarking and disclosure laws covering privately owned buildings. While all of the laws cover commercial property, 4 laws in New York City, Washington, D.C., Austin, Texas, and Seattle also cover multifamily housing. Those laws will affect more than 1.3 million housing units, totaling approximately 2 billion square feet of space by 2014, and several other cities and states are actively considering similar policies.
IMT is serving as a technical expert, helping all the cities around the United States that are implementing these policies, and probably almost all of the cities that are considering implementing these policies, as they figure out how to use these policies for greatest effect. So we're serving as a clearinghouse, sharing best practices and lessons learned from each of the cities. And different cities start from different places, have different experiences, but they all agree that they can learn something from each other.
Some multifamily property owners and managers already voluntarily benchmark their buildings. Thomas Lee, the Sustainability Project Manager for the Bozzuto Group, an East Coast multifamily development, management, and investment firm, says benchmarking is a critical first step for Bozzuto to manage energy across its property portfolio.
And so it kind of feeds into itself. The benchmarks are important because they provide us with the proof that we need to identify buildings that are energy wasters. But then the benchmarks are also important later on to show that the investments that are made in improving the energy efficiency of these energy wasters, we can show the improvements back to the owners, and we can show them that, hey, yes, in fact, your buildings are more energy efficient as a result of these retrofits, these changes. And that gives us all a great sense of satisfaction.
But while stories like Bozzuto's are becoming more common in the industry, many multifamily owners and operators have never benchmarked their buildings. In many cases, multifamily owners do not have access to utility bills for their tenants, information they must have in order to conduct benchmarking. Additionally, the multifamily sector is fragmented, and laws must reflect the needs of diverse stakeholders. For example, current laws do not typically distinguish between market-rate housing and affordable housing, despite major differences between the two sectors, such as lease processes, operating budgets, and the role of government subsidies.
There's huge potential in the sector for energy savings. The average age of a multifamily building in the U.S. is 36 years old, and most were built before modern energy codes were in effect. A recent report by the Benningfield Group estimated that there's an achievable potential savings of 30% in energy efficiency improvements. This would result in $9 billion in savings for building owners and tenants and would reduce carbon dioxide emissions by the equivalent of shutting down 20 coal-fired power plants.